All right, so far in our Zero Trust series, we've talked a lot about the what and the why. But now we get to the really good stuff, the how. We're going to pop the hood, get our hands dirty, and see what really makes this thing tick. So think about your day. Every single click, every app you open, every file you try to access, it's a question. And in a Zero Trust world, something has to give the answer. Yes, you can, or nope, not today. This isn't just about logging in once in the morning. We're talking about a constant, real-time interrogation for every single connection. So who's asking the questions, and more importantly, who's giving the final answer? Okay, to really get this, we need to meet the key players. NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, breaks it down into 3 core logical components. Now, don't let the word components fool you. Think of them as a team, a trio of decision makers that have to work together perfectly to keep things secure. All right, check out this diagram from NIST. The first thing you'll probably notice is that it's split into 2 zones. You've got the control plane up top. That's the brains of the operation. It's the command center. Then you have the data plane down below. That's the highway where all your actual data travels. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. That highway stays completely blocked until the control plane gives the green light. This separation it's everything, and we're going to get into exactly why. So first up in our trio is the policy engine, or PE. This is the big brain, the head of strategy. Its whole job is to look at all the evidence, who you are, what device you're on, is it healthy, what are the company rules, and then make the final call, grant, deny, revoke. But, and this is important, the PE doesn't actually do anything. It just makes the decision. It's the judge, not the bailiff. Okay, so if the policy engine is the judge making the ruling, who carries out the sentence? That's where the policy administrator, or PA, comes in. Think of the PA as the field commander. It gets the order from the PE, the big brain, and its job is to translate that high-level decision into a concrete, actionable command. It's the essential middleman, the translator between strategy and action. And that brings us to the final member of our trio, the Policy Enforcement Point, or PEP. This is the muscle, the sentry at the gate. It's the actual thing, maybe it's a firewall, a gateway, or even a little piece of software on your laptop, that physically opens or closes the path. The PEP doesn't think, it doesn't question, it just gets an order from the policy administrator and bam, it executes. Door open or door closed. Simple as that. Okay, so we've met the team, the policy engine, the brain, the policy administrator, the commander, and the policy enforcement point, the sentry. Now, let's put it all together and watch them in action. Let's trace a single simple request from you to an application you need to use. So, it all kicks off when you try to get to a resource. The first thing that happens is your local sentry, the PEP, stops you. It's like, whoa there, where do you think you're going? It doesn't just let you pass. Instead, it phones home to the command center. The request goes all the way up to the policy engine, the brain, which looks at everything and makes a judgment. That decision gets passed to the policy administrator, who then sends the final command back down to your local PEP. And only then, if the answer was yes, does the gate swing open. And get this whole dance happens for every single connection you make, not just once a day. Okay, now here's where it gets really, really cool. Remember that diagram we looked at, the one with the 2 separate zones? Well, there's a reason for that. This whole conversation we just described, the request, the decision, the command, it doesn't happen on the same road as your actual data. It's all split between what we call the control plane and the data plane. Think of it like this. The control plane is like a secure private radio channel. It's just for the security team, the PA and the PEP, to talk to each other. Hey, can this person get in? Yep, let him through. Meanwhile, the data plane is the super highway where all your actual work traffic is supposed to flow. The really crucial part is that the highway is completely shut down by default. It only opens up for you for that specific session after the team on the private radio channel gives the go-ahead. Your data and the secret command signals never, ever mix. You know, this whole separation of powers isn't just for neatness on a diagram. It's the secret sauce. This idea of decoupling the decision from the actual enforcement is what makes Zero Trust so incredibly powerful and flexible. It's a total game changer. But you might be wondering, why? Why go through all this trouble? Couldn't you just put a little brain in every single gateway and let it decide for itself? Why separate the brain from the brawn? Well, as it turns out, there are some massive advantages to doing it this way. Yeah, there are 3 huge wins here. First, scalability. I mean, think about it. You can have thousands of these PEPs, these sentries, all over the place, on laptops, in the cloud, everywhere. And they're all listening to one central brain. You need to change a rule? You change it in one place, and boom, everyone gets the memo. Second is resilience. If one of those gatekeepers out in the field has a problem and goes offline, who cares? The central brain is fine, and the rest of the network just keeps on ticking. And finally, agility. You can stand up a new app, a new office, whatever. Just drop in a new PEP, and it automatically knows who its boss is and where to get its orders. It's brilliant. And all of this, it brings us to maybe the single most important takeaway from our entire conversation today. Seriously, if you're thinking about building a zero-trust environment, this next part is for you. You don't have to take my word for it. NIST puts it perfectly in their official guidance. They say a full solution isn't about any one approach. Whether it's identity or network stuff, the key necessity, their words, is that the enforcement points, the PEPs, can be managed and can react to commands. It's all about that dynamic relationship, that communication, not about a specific brand or box. So, here's the bottom line. The tools you buy from vendors, those are just the bricks. Important, sure, but they're just bricks. The real security, the real power, comes from the blueprint, the architecture that tells all those bricks how to connect and work together as a strong wall. If you get the architecture right, the house will be secure, no matter who made the bricks. So now we know how the decision gets made. We've seen the whole machine in action, with the brain and the commander and the sentry, but that leaves one giant question, doesn't it? What information is the brain actually using to make these calls? What data points, what signals, what intelligence feeds into that split-second decision? Well, that is a fantastic question, and it's exactly what we're going to dive into next time. See you there.